Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, folks, let's get it. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Scott Gerard, but more importantly, Tim Lacombe hanging out. Hey, Coach.
What's going on, man? Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
It's awesome, man, having you here.
This music's awesome. I love that.
Yeah?
These bumps, I like all these every time I'm in the car.
So, Lloyd, this is Lloyd's opening song. And then we'll let you have the playlist after that.
Oh, sweet. I love it.
I think, you know what, I think one of the new features on the show needs to be like the show playlist. Maybe we put like a Spotify list.
That would be fun, actually.
Yeah.
I would love that.
How do you, like, all right, so you're sitting in your car. You are a music aficionado. You are a musician yourself. Like, how, is it a mood thing? Like, what takes you down the path of what you want to listen to on a day? Like, you're going on a road trip or coming into work or whatever the case is.
Well, I'm going to actually flip the question to you first because I'm curious. What do you listen to going to Laramie? Like, what's your go-to? Just so I have some context.
Okay.
What I'm working with.
So Laramie, that's for some reason, I go a little bit more, and I don't know if it's because of where I'm going. That's got a little bit of a late 90s, early 2000s country music.
Dwight Yoakam in there somewhere?
A little bit of Dwight. I don't hate on Dwight at all.
I love Dwight.
But like, old school Garth Brooks,
Sure.
Brooks and Dunn, early Faith Hill, early Tim McGraw. There's this guy that wrote like the saddest music ever called George Dukas. His name was, and he's got a great album. One album, and then he was done.
Okay, I'm making a note of that because I like to listen to new stuff.
Yeah.
So that gives me, geographically, you're going into
has a
cowboy
little
country,
bit, yep.
and yeah.
And then on the way back, it might be a little bit more heavy because I got to stay awake. So, that might change things a little bit.
I could be, and this is just on any drive, I could go anywhere from Gordon Lightfoot to Slayer and everywhere in between. I'm serious. One of the things that was funny about the band experience for me, I moved to Texas when I was a kid and moved out to Texas, had no real musical background, but met these guys and they had a band and we started messing around. And it really, two of the guys, even to this day, I credit most of my music appreciation and knowledge to them because it kind of became a game to us, like who, you talk about guitar players and great ones and who plays for who and how bands form, like sport, like the NBA, like the NFL. I love off-season drama. Well, there's plenty of drama, all those outside the music stories that were
behind the music.
Behind the music, yeah. They tell such a great story about the formation and the launch, and it's
and
so
what
sad
eventually
how it
will
splinters.
always be how it splinters. Yeah.
And Coach Rose told me this when we were coaching together, and I have found it to be true. Very few things in life end well. Like you have to make a concerted effort to make them end well. And man, if that hasn't rang true, is that true to you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like change is hard.
Change sucks.
And change brings a lot of emotion. So, I don't know how I got there from music, but the bottom line is I listen to everything. And even today, like on my way up, I got sucked into 80s hair metal. I was listening to Rat, which you probably didn't listen to it.
I didn't listen to, but I know Rat. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get you educated on some of that stuff. But that's me. I mean, that's what I do.
You got another thing coming? Was that Rat?
That's Judas Priest.
Judas Priest, yeah. Okay.
Rockin' Rob Halford, KK Downing, and the boys.
Nice. I'm in a weird mood right now, though, with and I think I told you this last time. I when I go in on something, like I like completely get enamored with it, and then I'll get bored with it, and then move on to something. I'm in a weird yacht rock kind of mood lately, and I'm a little embarrassed about it, but I don't know why, but I've been enjoying that stuff.
Like, I went to the Yacht Rock concert this summer at USANA, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about. There were a lot of people there, and what I noticed, people of all ages, the old fuddy-duddies like myself, but there's an appreciation for that good vibe. Christopher Cross was amazing that day.
Oh, yeah. I can't even imagine.
His voice is still really true, but he can really play the guitar.
He's got to be in his 70s, right?
he's pushing that, no doubt. But he looks great, and the music was pristine. I would say pristine. I'd go pristine with the music.
Who else was there? You mentioned.
It was Toto.
Oh, yeah.
And Men at Work. So it was a nice little.
From a Lynn Down Under.
Yeah,
Nice.
and that was a great one.
That would be a good show.
He actually just brought. He hasn't. His wife is from Cuba, and so he's got a bunch of Cuban musicians. So it's kind of Australian with a little Cuban vibe. It's kind of cool.
Nice.
So we had a great. It was a beautiful night out there too. So.
All right, let's get to it. The story everybody's talking about. What a game. The only thing that really, truly mattered in the Olympics. Not knocking figure skating, not knocking anything else, the curling, everything else. It came down to hockey, and we were all waiting for it. USA versus Canada, and we got it. Here's your starting lineup.
It's time to kick off the show with the biggest headlines of the day. This is your starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Boldy to the net. He scores! This is an unbelievable finish by Matt Boldy. Now Jack Hughes pokes it around McCarr. United States with numbers. Back across it comes. Jack Hughes wins it. The golden goal for the United States. For the first time since the 1980 miracle, the United States takes the gold.
This is all about our country right now. I love the USA. I love my teammates. It's unbelievable. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we had so much support from ex-players. I'm so proud to be American today.
This was
so proud.
This was such an incredible game to grind out. I mean, you're bleeding right through it just looking at you right now. Can you just talk about how difficult this gold medal was to win?
Unbelievable game by Hellebuck. He was our best player tonight by a mile. Unbelievable game. Unreal game by our team. That's just a ballsy, gutsy win. That's American hockey right there. That's a great Canadian team, but we're USA. We're so proud to be Americans. Tonight was all for the country.
What does this gold medal mean to USA Hockey?
It's everything. Like I said, the USA Hockey Brotherhood means so much. Look at these guys. We're such a team. We've been together for 2 weeks. We're such a team. The USA Hockey Brotherhood is so strong, and we're so proud to win for our country. This is all.
Oh, now you got to ruin it with this nonsense. Come on, Lloyd. Stick with Freebird. I don't like Lee Greenwood. I have a hard time with Lee Greenwood.
Not a big league guy.
No.
He's not on the money playlist.
No, he's
I
never
mean,
on
God
it.
bless him.
Yeah.
And
no pun intended.
correct.
Yeah. And all the money he's made off
That's
this
what
song.
I meant to say.
Yep.
Hey, they've got these Bibles now you can buy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That doesn't seem crazy.
No. All right. How about that? USA, USA, USA. They get it done in overtime. They take blow after blow, haymaker after haymaker from Team Canada. The Americans were incredible in the pipe, between the pipes. Just incredible. And when you saw that goal go through, it was as cool as any Olympic moment I've ever seen.
Yeah, it only rivals the 80
Yeah.
game for me. I actually shared that moment. That was I was 10 years old. And so I was talking to our illustrious producer, Mr. Lloyd Cole, whose son's 11. And so, I mean, I was that kid watching it with my dad. And, yeah, I got up. I set my alarm. I got up to watch this one. And, man, it was such a well-played game. And like he said, that was U.S. hockey. And I will say, having worked with the Jazz and the Mammoth the last few months, that hockey brotherhood is real. That's a thing, for sure.
Well, and we talk about bringing teams together, and in this day and age of NIL and collectives, you throw a bunch of teams together, and you've been spot on this, and I've quoted you a bunch of times. You can't just manufacture connectivity. Like, you either have it or you don't. And sometimes you can develop it, but it takes years to develop. Or sometimes it just immediately clicks. And for some reason, it just clicked with these guys right from the start.
Yeah, and I think that aspiration to win a gold medal, I was looking up today the percentages, of the number of people in the world and the number of people that could actually win a gold medal. I mean, you've got a better chance of seriously getting hit by lightning. It's 0.000009. of population wins a gold. So just an absolutely amazing, and then to do it against Canada.
Yeah.
That is their sport. And the U.S. played a physical, tough, totally detailed game.
Yes.
And you could feel that connection. And I'm with you. Money can't buy it. I think lots of college programs are finding that out. I mean, the Kansas States of the world, that's a very expensive roster that's blown up. The chemistry of an organization matters. And these guys did it. They did it their way. They did it against the big brother. And, man, it was, to me, I'm with you, as good an Olympic moment as I've experienced.
So was it the semifinal, Lloyd, where they were down, Canada was down 2-0 and had to get the 2 late goals and ended up winning that thing?
They played behind quite a bit,
They did.
a couple times.
And so Lloyd and I were talking about this on Friday. It's like, okay, do you want Canada to win so that if Team USA wins, it's a little sweeter beating Canada, or do you want the path to be a little easier? It's like, do you want a bunch of shoe clerks to pull off the upset and then you get an easier path to the gold? Well, now that you look back at it on retrospect and you beat Canada, it just means a little bit more. It just has a different vibe that you beat the crazy Canucks to go and get the win. And
I would almost bet every person in that locker room was hoping Canada would be there. I mean, that's what you want to face the best.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think like I said, just you could feel the grit. There was great grit to that team, and everybody was waiting. I loved all the aerial stuff. I loved the downhill, which I got to see here in Salt Lake, which was mind-boggling to see how fast those people go down mountains. But everybody's waiting for this, and they delivered.
Yeah, I hope you have that same kind of intensity, that same kind of storylines going in when we're in our backyard here in 8 years.
Absolutely.
How great would that be?
I mean, how great would that? And Ryan Smith actually tweeted out how crazy will it be to have Olympic hockey in the newly now designed for hockey Delta Center.
I wasn't around in the market in 2002. The hockey was actually in the Maverick Center, wasn't it? In 2002?
I believe it was. I think figure skating was here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's going to change.
Yep.
Yeah,
so it'll be great.
There's no way that's happening in 34. There's no way.
And 34 will be right on top of us if I've learned anything about life.
Just like that.
Yeah.
No, it'll be here before you know it. You know what? That was the perfect way to end the Olympics. And to be able – so here's my situation yesterday. So I had a 5:40 a.m. flight out of lovely Reno.
I thought you might stay over and spend more time at the Nugget.
No. Look, I like Vegas, but Reno, best view of Reno's in the rearview mirror.
I'm not going to – I went out for a walk, made a mistake. We went to play there, went for a walk.
No.
I was fearing that I'd make it back.
Yeah. Reno's a tough town.
Yeah.
But nice campus, beautiful campus. But you take a few steps the wrong way in that city, and you could be in a world of hurt.
Might have a new boss.
Yeah, exactly. That's very well put. Very well put by you.
Thank you.
But so I'm on this flight, and I'm lucky enough to be on a Delta flight that's got the TV screens. So every screen is got that game on. Everybody's watching it. And it goes through the first period. That's awesome. 1-0. Then it's tied up at 1-1. And there's about 5.5, 6 minutes left in regulation. And all of a sudden the screen goes dark. And it's like, sorry, TV, we lost the signal. And there was a damn mutiny on that flight. It was so funny. People were losing their minds and complaining. Everybody's hitting the little stewardess button. Like, ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Everybody's like, where's our game? You can't do this to us now. So finally, the plane lands right when overtime's beginning. So first off, everybody's checking their phones. All right, we're in OT. We made it. And everybody just, like, you want to be calm and collect when you leave an airplane. You don't want to be that guy that grabs a bag and immediately runs up the top of the plane. We were all that guy. And everybody was sprinting to get out of the plane. We all found a little hotel, or not, a bar, airport bar, and everybody's cramming around watching it. And when that goal went through, the airport just erupted. It was one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. Just seeing everybody just losing their emotion. It didn't matter if you're Ute, Cougar, Aggie, Jazz, whatever. Everybody was united under that one thing.
Did you have the same feeling you have when you just lose battery on your cell phone?
Oh.
And you feel like you've lost connection.
Oh, yeah, to the world.
To the world. And there's nothing more aggravating. Same type of deal. I've been on planes watching live sports. Imagine that. And I think I traveled almost 1 million miles with Delta.
Are you a million miler?
I'm just shy of it, just barely shy of it. So I'll hit it at some point. But we did a lot of charter too. You know?
Oh yeah.
So thank goodness. I mean, I'm not arguing, but no, but that's aggravating. And you do feel like, oh man, the FOMO. FOMO is huge.
FOMO, yeah. It's like, what's going on? And but no, it was really cool. And it's like you talk about. You were sharing the story before the show about you and your dad watching the 2000 or the 1980 team, and you will always remember where you're at. I will always remember I was in the middle of an airport watching that final goal go through. That's what makes sports so great, and it makes like when you were with all those guys at the Jimmer celebration. Like, I can't imagine how cool that was. And you were probably talking about, remember at Utah or that semifinal against New Mexico. But there's probably a lot of stories that nobody ever knows about or something funny that happened on a road. And those are the memories you really have. Are the brotherhood moments that probably never anybody talks about or anybody knows. That's what's so awesome about sports. There's always those little signature moments that you'll remember for the rest of your lives. I took my 14-year-old to a couple Broncos games. And they were both wins. We both saw wins there, but awesome. But there's a little thing about Brody always talks about, like, hey, remember when we got milkshakes, coming out of the stadium? Like, those are the little things you remember. That's what makes sports so much fun. We argue all the time, and there's so much hate in the world and anger. But there's every now and then you get the moment where, like, okay, that was really cool.
Well, and it's like you talked about in the airport, all those people crowded around. It didn't matter where you were from, what you looked like, whatever. And to me, I do think that is the beauty of what we love in sport is that unifying impact. I mean, I was just thinking as you were talking, and I sometimes I refer to myself as the Forrest Gump of Utah sports because I've been just about in so many big things but not, just a guy there, playing a role, not having a huge impact on it. But, the Jimmer game at Utah, that was one that stands out to me always.
And you were with the team in San Antonio, the Utah team, right?
I was actually not. I had left the year before when we had Sweet 16, and I went and did some things in Austin for 3 years business-wise. So when Utah came, I actually went to the Final Four and watched it, but I was not with them.
Oh, okay.
So I would say the two Sweet 16s were great. Utah, we played Iowa State in Dallas, and the Florida game in New Orleans. So getting to those was great. But it really is the moments like Tyus Edney's. Utah had just played Mississippi State and lost. I was a manager for Rick. They had the great Eric Dampier. He just swatted 7-8 shots that night. He was dominant. But it was after the game and everybody's doing media and we'd packed up our locker room. I was standing in the tunnel on the ball side, and I was able to watch the ball get inbounded to Tyus Edney, him weave his way through traffic and go score.
I was at that game.
You were there?
In Boise, yeah.
So we share that moment. But those are the types of things like you remember and you talk about. But when you get together with the guys, there wasn't one basketball memory.
I bet.
I laughed with James Anderson because I give him a ton of credit. We won. We beat Wofford that first game. We pulled away in the end. But late in that game, James Anderson kicked the ball, and kind of in frustration. Didn't mean to, but he kind of kicked at a ball, and it nicked it. And the referees gave him a technical foul. Had no impact. We won the game. But the next day, Coach kind of used that to get the guys. So everybody's excited we'd won. We're in for breakfast the next morning, and Coach comes flying through the door, and he's like, James Anderson, you think you're so big time now you can kick that basketball? And everybody just sat up at attention and all the laughter. And so, but I go to him every time. I'm like, Coach needed something to go at, and we just lost, Brandon a couple weeks before. Everybody's ego was a little, so he had to pick somebody that could handle it and also wouldn't impact him too bad. So he went at James, and it got the guys' attention, and we were able to go out there and get that second one. So against Gonzaga. So and they had just punished St. John's in the game before. They just beat them 20, 30 points. So it got our guys' attention, and we went on a win. But those little things, are the things you talk about. Or Jonathan Tavenauer, who'd bring me a tin of Altoids every day because he knows I love them. So it's just all those little things that you share that, like you said, not a lot of people know about.
And that's, again, the brotherhood of sports, the brotherhood of fans and then also the brotherhood of players. I think both were on display yesterday. You saw a team that came together, loved each other, would die for each other, and then you've also got a bunch of fans that rallied behind them as well. And I think that just, both of it was just the awesome moments of sports.
That's the essence.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you want?
That's what it's all about, really.
And we all have our frustrating moments. We'll get into some losses this weekend locally that are frustrating, but it just goes to show you can't win them all, and you're never going to really play a perfect game. But when those outliers happen, those big magical moments, that's why I set my alarm for 6 a.m. I wanted to see it.
Yeah, it was just so much fun. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Friend of the day today, Tim Lacombe. But let's be honest, Tim's been a friend forever. How you doing, man? Everything
I'm great.
good? It's so much fun having you here.
Well, you're just the best for having me come visit. This reminds me of Rocky 3, Rocky 4, walking in. All the craziness. James Brown. I'm a James Brown guy now. I would tell you that.
Oh, yeah. By the way, one of the best Saturday Night Live skits, the hot tub.
Oh. Yeah, enough.
That's all you got to say. Love that. Ow! In a hot tub. All right, so, yeah, that was a rough one because, that's Apollo's coming out there, and then Dolph just kills him. Just wrecks him.
Literally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a heartbreaking moment.
I must break you.
All right. BYU. How much do you take from the Cougars' win over Iowa State at home and feel like, okay, they lost 4 out of 5, things were struggling, or I want to say 5 out of 6, and they were struggling a bit, and how much did that game against Iowa State help right the ship?
So much. Prior to that, I was looking probably their best wins, Clemson.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah.
And they were right there. Obviously, played so many teams tough. Had Arizona basically reeling late in the game just to hold on both times. So I've liked the fight, but without Richie, I was worried that that it was going to be difficult to find all the things that you got to do to replace him. And I think what I learned this weekend is Kevin Young. I've had a ton of respect for him always, but to do what he did with that team and beat Iowa State, who's really, they were a 1 seed projected, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this drops them down. I think Kevin Young showed he can really coach, and then AJ DeBonsis stepped it up just to a whole nother level. That team desperately needs playmaking, and he had 10 assists. Now, they only had 14 assists on the game, and no one outside of he and Rob Wright had an assist.
Yeah.
Okay, so the ball is going to be in their hands to make decisions, but hey, man, if he has to pare it down to that and get guys just contributing other ways, it worked Saturday.
I think this is AJ's hoping to become the number 1 overall pick, and certainly talent-wise, he's certainly more than capable of pulling that off. It just kind of depends on team need. But honestly, this is an opportunity for him to showcase that you can build a team around me in the NBA. Because if you're an elite-level collegiate player or an elite-level player, you should be able to will a collegiate team to big wins like that. And to see him do that, I think, is a big step in that direction for him.
Yeah, and I don't want to, pour gas on a fire, but Peterson's doing just the opposite.
Yes.
Kansas loses at home to a not very good Cincinnati team. The worst home loss to a non-ranked team in a long, long time at Kansas. And so I look at it and I go, what AJ did to win that, he played 40 minutes too. He didn't come out.
Yeah.
So, to me, that when you're picking a guy, that's got to register somewhere, doesn't it? Like a guy that's going to be there when you're trying to win games.
Now, look, David Locke could come on and completely argue with me on this one. And I'm sure he would. Like if I said to David on the air, and I said, hey, David, the Peterson kid, is that a red flag for a GM out there? He'd be like, no. Is he a great player? Yes. He'll be fine. Get him in an NBA world. But I don't know, man. Like in a day and age where you see a lot of athletes that just don't necessarily feel like they want to give it the best on a night in and night out basis, to me, that's a red flag. But I know there's a lot of GMs like, I'm not worried about that at all. Can he play? Does he have the intangibles? Does he have the skill set? Okay, we can work with that. And I see that side too. But honestly, if I've got a guy who's in the college ranks kind of implementing his own version of load management and not carrying a team when he has to carry a team, to me, that's a bit of a red flag.
Oh, and getting paid a ton of money.
A ton of money,
right?
Yes.
So in the old days, hey, if you can't do it or you're not going to do it and you're just getting a scholarship, but the boosters at Kansas got to be scratching their heads.
Oh, yeah.
People all over the country, though, do. Kentucky has a big guy out that they paid huge money to. And so you look at it and you say, this has got to be figured out. But in AJ's instance, I really like what the kid's made of. I like the fact that winning matters. To me, that's a huge piece of who you take. I mean, you watch what Mason Falselev did the other night. He didn't have the best game, but throw the ball to him in the corner, down 4, need one, need a shot, whacks that 3, because that dude cares. It's not like, oh, I didn't play well, so whether we win or lose tonight doesn't matter. And for all the great things LeBron James did for the NBA, I think that one of the worst parts of his legacy may be that he kind of brought this attitude of player, the team, as much as players were important with Jordan and Bird, those guys held the standard, And I know LeBron is put together this incredible resume, but at the same time, the NBA is different. Guys I just don't think they always, teams, they just don't play as hard. Guys, winning doesn't necessarily matter as much as it used to. And so I would look at A.J. Harden in this instance because I love what he's doing as a collegiate kid.
I love the NBA playoffs because that's when guys flip the switch. The regular season can be rough sometimes. And I don't know, I know Bill Simmons and a lot of people out there are really trying to push to limit, drop games back in the regular season. I can't imagine the NBA signing off on that and taking less money from broadcasts. So, 82 is going to stay 82, but it just feels like there's just not this emphasis on the regular season. Even teams like the Denver Nuggets, or they know they're going to be fine in the playoffs. They know that they'll be okay. So let's just kind of coast through, make sure everybody's healthy, everybody's rest up, and then when the playoffs hit. But I think this is a way bigger issue, what we're talking about, than the Jazz tanking and all that other nonsense that came down. I would, when the Spurs, and granted, it worked for them. They got a few extra years out of Tim Duncan and Manu and Parker by doing the resting and the load management. So it's hard to say that they did the wrong thing because they were able to pull out another championship and extend those careers. But at the end of the day, it hurt the product of your regular season. And I think that is more detrimental to the integrity of the league than what the Jazz are doing.
And that's so true because over the last, so I've been doing Jazz broadcasts for 6 years, and you get this, I'm sure, too, where you go out to the supermarket and somebody knows you're affiliated with the Aggies or the Jazz or whatever, and they want to chat about it. But the number one thing that people talk to me about is that the regular season has just been so minimized and that you can never really count on who's playing when. That it's with the economy the way it is and most people, trying to make decisions, the tickets, if you're not going to see who you really want to see and there's no way to know that up to game time, what do you do? So I think the NBA's got a whole bunch of stuff that they need to work out. But you see, it's the college kids mimic what they see.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this Darren Peterson thing, I saw a guy who I really have a ton of respect for. He's actually Damian Lillard's workout guy, Phil Beckner.
Oh, yeah.
But Phil's working with Peterson. And so he's doing all this stuff, saying, hey, that nothing, this guy really wants to win and all this stuff. And there's more to it. I just know the look's bad.
Yeah.
And if the only people that are talking about how great he is are on the payroll, that's a red flag too. The NBA does a great job of a lot of things, the organizations at different levels, but you eliminate red flags. You either make sure that it's not a red flag, and people would say Ace Bailey's a perfect example. Last year, there were teams that wouldn't have drafted Ace with a 10-foot pole because of his representation. Had such a bad reputation. But the fact that the Jazz dug into it and said, hey, he's not really tied with that guy, and we found that out quick. He got booted. Mm-hmm. But the number of calls I fielded on guys who were maybe going to go try out, go to Portsmouth or right on the verge of that. I mean, they didn't matter. I would be on the phone for an hour answering questions about the guys. So you eliminate those red flags. And so with Peterson, that's just what teams are going to have to do. They're going to find out what is behind all this. Is it a really controlling person, or is it the kid? But the bottom line is the look right now for him is horrible. And you contrast it with AJ and what he did for BYU the other night in a dire. They needed that win.
They had to have that win.
They had to have that win. And they're going to make the tournament no matter what. But if they wanted to have confidence, and now I look at their schedule, I think they can go on a run. They had success playing a new way. Kevin had to really do some things, keep the ball in those guys' hands. Everybody else that he brought in, Boscovich was great. And he's somebody I told DJ and PK that I thought he could be a guy that comes in and helps with what Richie's. And he got 13 points, made some big timely shots. So interesting contrast. We weave the NBA into it, but I think it fits because you got two guys who that's their goal, to be the number one pick. But, man, they're putting together so much of a different season. How do you know? And
if you're a BYU fan, look, AJ, his resume coming into college spoke for itself. But when the Richie Saunders injury happened, AJ could have been like, you know what, I'm gonna tell things off here a little bit, and maybe not publicly say that, but just hamstrings kind of flaring up a little bit. I'm gonna sit this one out. He easily could have done that. And I think everybody would have been like, all right, we don't like it, but I understand it. It's a good business decision. And yet he goes out there and plays 40 minutes. And he's like, no, I'm going to put the team on my shoulders. BYU fans, I think, really appreciate that and understand that is somewhat of a rarity now in college athletics. Because you're right, back in the day with, in the 80s and 90s when we were watching NBA, there was a badge of honor for guys that played all 82. You're like, okay, that guy's going 82 year in and year out. Now there's guys out there that are like, no, I'm going to take care of me first. I'm going to make sure that I'm in my best position physically and mentally so that when the playoffs come around, I'll be in a better shape. I don't care about the regular season as much. And that has filtered down into the college ranks, as you've mentioned, because guys imitate what they see. So they're like, you know what? It's okay if I sit out a game. It's okay if I miss a stretch of games or if I pull myself out in the second half because I want to focus on me and make sure that I'm more worried about me than I am the team. And to have AJ break that mold and say, no, screw that. I don't care if Richie's not here. That means there's more on me. Rob, you and me, let's go out and let's get this thing done. And they did it. And I think BYU fans should feel incredibly grateful because you could have easily seen him go that other way, and he didn't.
And it checks out with – I've got a lot of people at BYU that I know that aren't necessarily associated with basketball but are around and see. And I'll tell you what, from the time the kid got here, all I've heard is great things, like the work ethic, the commitment to trying to live, the way he's committed to live at BYU. He went on the other night, I heard on the broadcast his favorite class is the Book of Mormon, which people are like, wow. But what's neat about it is this is what had to happen for this quote unquote Provo thing to happen. Yegor comes in last year and out of nowhere puts together a terrific year. BYU goes to Sweet 16. He's a well thought of international player that was taken care of. His deal worked out and he's having a great rookie year. Second year of proof. Now you bring in the number one recruit in the country. Something that we just never. We were in it for Jabari Parker because of the affiliation, but we were never really in it.
So was there ever a moment where you felt like we have a shot at this guy, or did you guys all along kind of know like, okay, this is a pipe dream?
It was one of the weirder deals, and this is going to be fun because I will share more stuff.
I love going down the memory lane with you on these things.
Yeah, but I will share more too because I don't feel like what happened. It was really an interesting one. Coach would assign us, recruits based on the relationships, what they were looking for, and Mark Pope was assigned to Jabari, and one of the jobs of the guy who's assigned to him is to have everybody else figure out how to acclimate and integrate to the recruiting. And so we all tried that, but it was kind of funny. It was almost like it was protected, that asset was protected by that salesman. And so it was always, even though I was on the staff, even Coach Rose at times, like we were in the dark sometimes what was actually going on. And so when he came on his visit, I just, it was just the interaction we had. I knew there was zero chance that we were getting him. And so I just wanted to make sure that there was a good feeling and respect and all that. But it was one of the more peculiar, it was almost like something that was covert in some respects. So, but I never felt like, other than, I felt like he was great to give us a visit. But I never thought in a million years we'd get him. We didn't have what other teams had at the time to get him.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's the thing that has been really impressive about BYU is that money's always been there, but there was never a legal way to distribute it. And now that there is, BYU's playing inside the rules, and they're flexing in a big way. And sure, there's a financial aspect to it to get those players to BYU with what you've seen, but also players want to see that, okay, can I get developed? Because I can get tons of money somewhere else, but are you going to put me in a situation where I can showcase my skills, where you can develop me? And having Yegor have the freshman or the rookie season that he's having right now, that's got to be as important as anything.
Oh, absolutely, because it's that next step, right? Not only did it work here, but then all the things that you taught, but you look at his staff. I mean, they do a great job, and they all have ties to the NBA. So he's got 20 guys. So you can have a guy with every guy 24 hours a day if you want, But if this is the game and these are the rules, and you can have this and the resources, I think you should. I mean, I don't begrudge it one bit. No. It's just the way the game's changed.
All right. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, what you may have missed. Also, Jay Stevens. We'll talk a little hockey with him coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. It's all right here on The Zone.
You're listening to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. Lloyd's got a little American blood running through him right now. Finding that theme. I don't know. That's kind of a bummer song, though, really. Got a little American Pie. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I dig it. I see what you're doing, and I like it.
Oh, no, I see the theme for sure.
Well, I know, but you're bagging on his tune selection, which...
Totally. That's kind of what Scotty does. That's his thing.
Well, I'll give you the next one. We'll see if he goes after me.
Oh, okay. The music died.
The music died.
Catchy tune, though. This was because of Richie Valens' death, right?
That's correct.
Big Bopper. You know Waylon Jennings was supposed to be on that plane?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah. I think...
Wait, is he the one that gave his ticket
I think it was Richie Valens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think Richie Valens took his spot on the plane.
Yikes.
Yeah. Don't think that didn't have long-term ramifications to his mental state.
The sky belongs to the stars.
Or so they say. You stay out of the sky, buddy, because you are a soaring star in this business.
All right. What you may have missed right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We talked about it in the Jazz at 30 update. Jazz are back at it, and it was like a competing arms race between them and Memphis, who could pull the more players out of that game. But the Jazz were able to get the L, and, it was when you were preparing for that game, doing Jazz pre-half and post, it's like, all right, who is playing?
Yeah, it's that way up until like the game tonight, 7:30. So, we lock when they go out there to the tip. That's when you really, really know. But that was a very watered down Memphis team. I believe they had 8 guys out, and so the Jazz were up big early, and I was kind of sitting there thinking, I don't know if there's a possible way they lose this game. But there was a huge issue in the second half with turnovers. They had 9 in the first half, 16 in the second. And a lot of those were live ball. So it got those young guys that didn't necessarily have a ton of experience making shots, just giving them points. And so the Jazz they really lost because of the turnovers in my mind.
Not all turnovers are created equal.
No.
Those live balls that lead to pick sixes going the other way, that will just wreck you in a hurry.
And Coach Majerus is just like, just drop kick it out of bounds.
Yeah.
Then we can get set. He was always wanting to get set, build your base.
Like if you're going to turn it over, there's ways to turn it over.
That's right. Make sure they're taking it out of bounds, not having a numbers advantage right back at us.
Yeah. I mean, I know we'll talk about Utah State coming up a little bit later on the show, but that's been their offense all year, is forcing turnovers and getting fast break points. And you slow them down, you get them into a half court offense, then you have a chance. But if you're turning it over, that team's a bunch of piranhas. They'll chew you up pretty quick.
They play so hard. I mean, the other night it was not an effort thing in the least. Like, they played hard. I thought Nevada made some crazy shots,
Yeah, they
had
did.
some good bounces. And then, again, it comes down to, can you get a rebound here? Can you make a free throw there? But they're still in a great spot. They've got 4 games left with teeth.
All of them, yeah.
You get to go to Vegas.
San Diego
San
on
Diego.
Wednesday,
Okay.
Grand Canyon in Logan on Saturday, and then you finish up with New Mexico at home, or I think at UNLV, and then New Mexico at home.
You mentioned the turnovers, the Utah State turning teams over. The Fresno State game we did together. That second half was a clinic.
Yeah.
And the other thing they do is really share the ball. Good, better, best, as
Yep.
Coach Calhoun says.
Right here on the Zone.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends. Nice. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Now we're talking. Was this yours?
I feel like we should get in the car and start driving to Laramie.
This does feel like a Laramie song. Nice. All right, Lloyd. This one's a winner. All right, joining us now, I can't imagine what it was like hanging out with you yesterday. Jay Stevens, hockey insider, also host of the Utah Puck Report at KSLSports.com. Jay, how much fun was that one from your perspective?
What an amazing game. Just so much fun. Definitely worth getting up for, right? Like, I know a lot of people were wondering if they were actually going to set the alarm clock. And I mentioned this on my show. We talk a lot about firefighters. You're not supposed to wake up and be put into intense situations right away. We're trying to lessen that as a firefighter. But that's exactly what happened yesterday. We set our own alarms. We got up early, and that game was intense. I had to remind myself to breathe.
How much of look, you've spent a lot of time between the pipes. What you saw yesterday, where does that rank in terms of some of the best individual goaltending you've ever seen?
Yeah, that is the biggest game somebody can ever play in. And Connor Hellebuck, has been bashed a little bit about not being a clutch goaltender in playoffs for Winnipeg, but I think he really proved himself. That's the biggest stage. That's the biggest game. The most pressure you can feel. It's one and done. You're kind of the underdog, and to go in there and just refuse to lose was amazing to watch. And you could tell it just kept inspiring the rest of the team, and he just made some ridiculous saves. I think there were a couple, too, that he just, closed his eyes and hoped for the best, and it worked out. And that happens as a goaltender. You know what you should do, and sometimes you just can't do it. You do something, and you make a save. So to see him play like that, I think, has got to be a huge relief for him. And what a huge thing for us to know that you can ride goaltending and win a gold medal like that.
Jay, how did you celebrate?
I just started screaming in my house. I scared my cats. I have 2 cats. I just started clapping, and I was the only one awake. So I was by myself, which is kind of sad, but I was so pumped. Just started clapping, woke everybody up, made sure everybody got up and to enjoy the moment and enjoy the medal and enjoy that ceremony with Johnny Gaudreau's kids. Just such an amazing experience from beginning to end.
With the timing of the Mammoth coming here and obviously this gold medal now coinciding with that general time frame, what does it do? Do you think this has an effect locally in the culture of hockey here in Utah?
100%. You look at those are 2 major things that have major impacts on an area, right? Bringing an NHL team to a market. We've seen it grow. We've seen what's happened in Tampa Bay. We even seen what was happening in Phoenix. They were growing. They produced one of the best ever scorers in the NHL in Austin Matthews. That wouldn't have happened if there wasn't an NHL team there. You saw it in LA. You're seeing it in Florida. And to see that happening now and to see the gold medal be won and how many people that inspired 46 years ago to become, hockey players with the Miracle on Ice, those 2 major things, you're going to see a ton of new participants in hockey in the state of Utah, and this is going to become a hockey state. It was already on its way thanks to the NHL, and the gold medal is just going to get so many more people interested in the sport and wanting to try it, and once you try it, you're hooked.
So, and by the way, 1,000% agree with that, because a lot of times we'll watch something in the Olympics and be like, wow, that's a cool moment. And then you don't think about it for 4 years because it's not available to you. But now that you can recreate that same kind of magic by going to a Mammoth game and seeing these same players playing professionally with that same level of intensity, it's only going to skyrocket things. Now, for those of us that aren't necessarily hockey aficionados, there was a lot made of the 3-on-3. For a guy that's been around the league or been around the sport a long time, are you a fan of the 3-on-3 for overtime?
I'm not a fan of the 3-on-3 for overtime. I wasn't a fan in 2014 when it went to 4-on-4, which was the same thing they were doing for the NHL. I understand that those are the rules of the game as they are played, and I don't think you would have heard a peep from Canada had they have won that game. So I think it's kind of sad to hear everybody complaining about it that way. Yeah, it would have been cool. Who knows how much longer it could have gone on or how many cool things would have happened if we just would have gone 5-on-5 sudden death like the NHL does in playoffs and in the Stanley Cup. But that's not the situation. And, you watch the World Cup, you watch, massive soccer games that get settled on penalty kicks that are, 90% unstoppable. At least both teams had a fair chance here. It didn't come down to just one minor mistake. It came down to two major mistakes. It came down to a huge gamble on the part of the U.S. Makar pinched on that play, which most of the time he wouldn't. But if Makar would have turned that puck over at our own blue line and you already had Jack Hughes trying to blow the zone and go with the puck, that would have been a 2-on-1 down low or maybe even a 2-on-0 with Canada down low. So that is a very tight niche, right? Like that's a very tight string to be strung right there as far as who's going to win or lose based on a play. Just a couple lucky bounces for the U.S. or a couple bad bounces, and it's a whole different game. So it's too bad they go 3-on-3, but they go on 3-on-3, and still the best team's going to win.
So when you have one thing about hockey, when you make a mistake or you get hit with and you have to spend some time in the box, people know about it. And I'd like the fact that Hughes was like, look, we had that 4-minute power play, and I screwed it up with a high stick, and then it led to Canada having, I think, like a minute 11 on their power play near the end of the game. It's tied up, and all he's thinking of, did I just lose my country a gold medal? What's that like when you are on display? And I know you were between the pipes, but when you have a mistake like that, everybody knows about it, and you're just praying for dear life you didn't cost your team.
Yeah, you could see it on Sam Bennett's face for Team Canada too, right?
Yeah.
When he actually high-sticked Jack Hughes. He was going to the bench. You could see you're like, that guy looks like he's sick to his stomach because he probably just cost his team the gold medal. And again, the biggest game on the biggest stage, the pressure's huge. You saw everybody playing, there was no open space out there, and that one tiny mistake should have cost Canada the game with the 4-minute double minor, and came really close to costing the U.S. with just that minute left over in Jack Hughes penalty. It's just the most helpless feeling, and you're just begging your team to bail you out, and you're just hoping that you get the lucky bounce and that, you don't want to be the guy that goes down as the guy that cost you the gold medal.
Jack Hughes, after the goal and in his interview, he talked about how the American Hockey Brotherhood. He talked about how that that is so strong. For those new to it, give us kind of describe what that is, what that brotherhood's like, and what it means.
Yeah, it's I talk about this on my show all the time. The weird thing about hockey is how close you get with all the other hockey players. And there are times, even growing up, for a lot of these guys, they grew up playing against each other, and then at some time got put in the U.S. National Development Program, and then so they played with each other, they've known each other, and you just get this bond where even if you're on the other team, like you can get on the ice and you can fight this guy, but you have mutual respect for each other and mutual goals in life. So even if you're playing against each other in juniors and you have a fight, and then the game's over and you go grab an ice cream after and talk about what you did well in the fight, what I did well in the fight, it just becomes such a love for the sport that you just accept everybody else into it. And hockey's another really weird thing where I've noticed, like at drop-ins, you'll get brand new people out there. And if I was a brand new guy that walked out into a basketball court at my gym where there's, Mike Doliak and Thurl Bailey and those guys are out there, you don't get the same treatment as, hey, come on in and we're going to pass you the ball every time. We're going to make you look good. But that's what happens at drop-in in hockey. Like, hockey is the most welcoming sport where everybody wants you. You want to try it? Come on out and try it. Just get open. I'm going to pass you the puck. I'm going to make you look good. and it's just a very cool community to be a part of. And most of my friends, like, I'm lucky because I'm a firefighter. I have a family with the firefighters, and then I have this crazy unique brotherhood with all the hockey players in Utah and around the country that I've played with that I could call any minute, and I know they could come help me move or put me in a pickup game or, whatever you need. You just create these special bonds with people just over the love of the game.
Jay Stevens joining us, Utah Puck Report, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You can catch that at KSLSports.com. USA's been knocking on the door quite a bit, and you can tell they were close. But to finally be the team that gets that gold medal, to finally be the team that knocks off Canada. So two-part here. Number one, winning the gold. What does that mean for United States hockey? And number two, is it even sweeter that you did it against Canada?
I'm going to start with number two first. It means everything that you did it against Canada. Scotty, you and I talked last week about how you wanted this major matchup, right? I kind of said I wouldn't mind them getting knocked off sooner just because they make me so nervous, because they are the best of the best. And we beat them at their own game, and that's huge for the U.S. And just to see that is so big. And keep in mind, a lot of people were not super pumped with how they built this roster. They were hoping you'd see, you wanted to see Clayton Keller more. You wanted to see Jason Robertson get a shot. And Cole Caulfield, who's one of the top players in the NHL, is an American playing in Montreal. These are players that are like leading the NHL in scoring, and they didn't make this roster. And Bill Guerin was pretty adamant about, and his example was, you got milk drinkers and you got whiskey drinkers, and we have a lot of whiskey drinkers on this team. And what he means is he's got blue-collar guys that are going to go to the corner, they're going to go in front of the net, they're going to take a beating, and say whatever you want against the Tkachuk brothers. They did exactly what everybody wanted them to do. They got Canada off their game. They drew penalties. They scored goals. They got assists. They just did so much blue-collar work that's showing that's the map for us to be successful as a country moving forward. We got to have that kind of mentality, all the skill in the world, plus all the physicality. That's what USA Hockey is going to bring. And, yeah, we were close. Now we're there, and I think they've seen the roadmap on how to stay gold medal winners, hopefully, for the next couple of Olympics.
Well, there's obviously the build-up and then the game itself, but what may have been the most special moment was the team getting Johnny Gaudreau's kids and bringing them out to the pictures and the skate. I can tell you this, not a lot of tears, I would imagine, shed on that one, but just a really impactful moment and speaks really to what you said earlier about the way that hockey people take care of their own.
Yeah, and Johnny Gaudreau was just one of the nicest and best people in the game. Everybody that knew him loved him. Even our own Trevor Lewis got to play with him for a couple seasons, and their Trevor's dad and Johnny's dad got real close. It was really hard to watch that and not tear up, and you were hoping, because they had posted earlier that it was the Johnny's son's second birthday that day. And I was like, I bet they're there. And you just kind of wondered if they were going to do it. And you could see Matthew Tkachuk looking immediately into the stands, trying to get those kids out there and get the jersey out there. And to be in such an intense moment and such a relief moment, and it was so emotional to get to that point and to put yourself aside for a minute and remember that we wanted to pay respects to Johnny Gaudreau. It was just, that's a big thing for the Tkachuks to do, and for Werenski, who played with him in Columbus. It's one of those coolest moments of sports. It's always going to be amazing that the U.S. won the gold, and we had the miracle on ice. Now we have the magic on ice, is what they're calling it. I've heard.
Nice, I like it.
But when you look at that picture and you see those kids out there, you're going to remember what it's all about, and it's just the love of the game, the teamwork, and the love of your teammates.
So, if there's been, games that I've covered or been at or called, like bowl games or NCAA tournament games or whatever the case is, and usually they'll bring around a ballot for, the most valuable player, and they'll say, if this team wins, who is your MVP, and if this team wins, so it'll bring around the fourth quarter, and so you write it in, and you give them two options because you want it to go to the best player on the winning team. However, Connor McDavid, in a losing cause, is named the MVP of the Olympic hockey tournament, so to speak. Is that surprising, or was he in fact the most valuable player, even though his team did not win a gold medal?
I didn't think he was the most valuable player. It didn't come down to that last game for me. I saw a lot of amazing character out there. I think he would have been in the running for sure. I did see from one of the other journalists that they had closed the ballots during the first period of the gold medal game, and that it didn't have that option of if this team wins, then this, and if the other team wins, then that. So I was a little disturbed by it, because after you watch that game and then you look at the save percentage of Connor Hellebuck and you watch the games that he won for the U.S., no soft goals, zero soft play, and his save percentage is like 96, 97% throughout the tournament. It's just hard to think of somebody doing more to win a gold medal than Connor Hellebuck did. And you could go right down the U.S. roster. A lot of guys did amazing things, and same with Canada. But I think it should have came down to who won the gold medal, right? Because that's where the proof's in the pudding.
All right, so as a guy that's played goaltender, just give me the level of difficulty of Hellebuck's behind the back kind of stick save. Was that just a pray that you get a stick on it, or was there a lot of skill that went into it, or just a little bit of luck, or probably I got to imagine a good combination of both?
Well, that's the desperation move that all goalies make when they're beat to that side. If you're moving one way, the player goes the other way, and you're trying to get back the other way, but your momentum carries your lower body to the wrong side. You just desperately lay out and you bring your stick back, and 99% of the time it misses your stick and still goes in the net. But you do it out of desperation. I've made a couple of saves like that where it was mostly just a bad shot, probably, or maybe I just got, every squirrel gets fed every once in a while. So yeah, it's a desperation move, but you do work on it in practice. You do it all the time, and to see it work like that, and to have the strength too. It's not easy to stop that puck with your stick like that. You got to have the strength in your upper body, because you're also fighting the other stick too. There was still contact from the stick from Devon Toews as he was shooting that puck. So, I mean, just a phenomenal save, and an exclamation point on what kind of a game Connor Hellebuck planned on having that day.
So this is an odd question, but I'm an odd guy. Can you do the splits? Like, is that dude was down there? Is that something you just drop into the splits on command?
Absolutely, yeah. Most goalies, especially younger goalies, can do the splits. I could do the splits from the time I was 15 up until, I don't even know when they went away. It was about 10, maybe 5 to 10 years ago.
Oh, you still got it in you, man.
Yeah, still doing it well into my 40s. But that being said, I'm getting a total hip replacement in a few weeks here too. So it comes at a cost. But yeah, most goalies can do the splits, and it comes in pretty handy especially if you can get flat and get pads across the whole bottom of the ice and cover the bottom of the net. It's a must-have for most goalies.
I can't imagine there's a lot of goaltenders over the age of 45 that aren't on a collision course for hip replacements.
Yeah, and the cool thing is they said my hips are going to be like brand new. So
yeah, there you go.
I figured I was thinking when I was starting to get this pain that I was going to have to retire pretty soon and not be able to play hockey anymore, which is my therapy. And they're like, nope, you're going to be good to go. So I'm figuring I got another 30, 40 years to go.
Nice. I like it.
Splits on command then.
After
the new hip. Yeah, I want to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask for looser hips this time, get some bionic put in there, and make some banana sounds. And,
yeah, well, when you look at that hospital bill, you may feel like you're the $3 million man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you had to bring that part up. That's the sad part of it all.
Hey, you're the best, man. Thanks for your help. Great insight as always. And it's just been so much fun being able to chat hockey with you. And let's get this regular season back up and go and see if the Mammoths can stay on this hot streak.
Oh, they're good, and I got lots and lots of Mammoth stuff to talk about, so we'll have to chat soon.
You got it. There he is, Jay Stevens, host of the Utah Puck Report, KSLSports.com, and one of the best dudes on the planet. You talk about the quality of people that are hockey experts or hockey players. Jay Stevens fits that mold. All right, we got a little bit of breaking news about the Utah Jazz. We will give that to you coming up next. This is not a big surprise. I love the Jazz are doing this, by the way. Absolutely love it. We'll get Coach's thoughts on that here in just a minute. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, we got a little breaking news for the Utah Jazz. And I think it's important to note that it is Chris Haynes reporting this, not Shams. No. Chris Haynes tweeting out, Utah Jazz starting center Jusuf Nurkic will undergo a surgical procedure on his nose on Wednesday that will sideline him for the remainder of the season, according to league sources. Said Nurk has experienced complications of breathing and sleeping since fracturing his nose a few years ago. And now they've decided, you know what? I think surgery is in his best interest. People don't understand. The Jazz haven't won a lot, but I don't think we can really talk about the impact that Nurk has had on this team enough.
No, absolutely. And I think when everybody saw it at face value last year, they thought the Jazz just gave Sexton away. There's nothing there. Nurkic is washed. And like Utah has been for a lot of guys, it kind of resurrected his ability to really play this game. He benefited from the spacing and the fact that he's a high-level facilitator. So if you just look at the numbers, and cleaning the glass is where I go for mine, which is a David Locke recommendation.
Yep.
The Jazz, where it really affects the Jazz, not so much offensively. The Jazz actually are 5 points per possession worse with Nurkic on the floor, but defensively they're 6 points better in points per possession, and he just has been great at manning the middle. He's not a shot blocker. He's not a guy that is going to go make plays above the rim, but his presence is felt, and he's a big guy. And he's done a nice job at acclimating on the defensive end. So rebounding, particularly offensive rebounding, will take a hit. Points per possession defensively is going to take a hit. Teams probably get easier shots or closer into the rim because what you're looking at is basically Kyle Filipowski and Oscar Tshiebwe as your functioning fives.
Yeah.
So
I was just smiling.
Put that in your fine.
I was just smiling the Oscar Tshiebwe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you remember he was on the squad.
Yeah. No, it's like, oh, yeah, I remember him now.
That dude is a delight. You
Oscar?
want to talk about a guy who's grateful just to be
Oh, yeah.
one of the best human beings. And just like every day you see him, I'm so grateful. He's just a grateful guy.
As he should be.
Right.
Look, you bust your butt, you get an opportunity. Let's go. I look at the opportunity here for the Jazz, and it's like, look, if the Jazz were fighting for a playoff spot, if they were in the playoffs looking to increase their seed going into the playoffs, Jusuf Nurkic is still playing. I mean, let's be honest here. But the Jazz, I think, are like, okay, you want us to tank the old-fashioned way? Fine, we'll do it your way. You want us to go old school? And guess what? Nobody's going to blink an eye at this. Nobody's going to care about that. Everybody's like, all right, okay, we see what you're doing there. But heaven forbid they pull Nurkic out in the fourth quarter and don't let him play. Then you're messing with the integrity of the league. That's going too far. But just saying, no, he's going to have surgery on his nose and he's having anybody that's in that room next to Nurkic, you hearing him snoring, he's affecting everybody. So, yeah, we're going to have that surgery now and we'll have him back for next season.
We have to put him in the room by the elevator.
Did
where nobody wants to be.
Did they make you guys bunk up?
No.
Coaches at BYU?
Early on.
Yeah.
But we got out of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were certain guys you keep your own room, dude.
I don't care if you have to take that on my check. I get my own room.
My own room. I was just going to ask you this, though. Do you feel like there's any more fines coming down generally from the NBA?
No.
Or do you think they're done fining?
I think that
they're doing it the right way now.
Yeah. Well, even though the Wizards did what the Jazz did and shut down a couple players in the fourth quarter. But I think the NBA made their point. They said, we're taking this very seriously. And the Jazz had to take the brunt of that because, I mean, it was an easy dog for Adam Silver to kick.
Because they can.
Yeah. and now it won't be a topic anymore. It won't, because people will move on from it.
By the way, don't look now, but the Pelicans picked up a win over the weekend.
Yes, they did.
They did.
So this is a very important move.
And the
Yes.
Pelicans are coming to town for 2. So it'll be interesting to see the availability going forward.
Who wants it less, more? We'll find out.
It's the Who Wants It Less More Bowl, brought to you by Less More.
There you go. I mean, honestly, this is important stuff. Now, this is why, and I went on a bunch of tangents last week, Coach, but look, the Jazz have signaled to the NBA, we're done. Like, as soon as they pulled the trigger on that Jaren Jackson trade, it's like, all right, we're ready to go. We just need to finish off this year. We're just going to get to the end of this year, and then guess what? We're all in next year. But we got this A.J. DeBonsa guy playing down in Provo. He'd look really good on this roster. You know, like the Boozer kid would look very good on this roster. Like, there's a lot of talent in this next year's draft. The problem is they're going to implement these dopey rules that Adam Silver said, we're not putting up with this anymore. So they're going to have some rules. And then next year at the All-Star game, he's going to tell the rest of the league, like, these rules are working. Why? Because next year's draft stinks. And so nobody's really going to be tanking next year because there's not a lot of players out there as of right now that look to be worthy of serious tanking. Now, there was a lot of tanking going on for Victor for good reason. We've seen what he's doing in San Antonio. Cooper Flagg, he was worth tanking for. This entire draft, top 10 might be worth tanking for in this year's draft. Next year, if projections hold and it's not a great draft, it's not worth tanking for. So he's going to be like, yeah, it's working. And the GMs are like, yeah, it's working because we don't really want to be in the top 5 with this year with that draft.
That was a great observation because I've done all the drafts, and the one 2 years ago, it was kind of trying to decide Risa Shea or Sarr at the top. So that had dropped. You know, those guys are more like probably 8th to 10th at the top. So, yeah, it will be interesting because it is not as strong a draft class. I will just say this. When the NBA does come up with new rules, the teams will figure out a way.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just how it is. Like college basketball, you know. You couldn't buy a kid a car, but his uncle could buy him a car with money you gave his uncle. I mean, that's the way this thing all started to filter. So, again, aspire trees or whatever you have to do, people are going to figure out how to game the game. I just think it's rich that the 6 years I've sat here and watched teams just flat out noticeably tanking. You know, the Rockets did it for a good period of time. OKC built their whole deal on it.
Yeah. I mean, Philadelphia trusts the process.
Right. I mean, they're still trying to trust it, and Embiid's the process, so I wouldn't trust it. I mean, it's just how I feel. I mean, it goes back to Darren Peterson. How bad does a guy want to win? And that's what you got to figure out. But no, I'm intrigued. Jake and I talked about this the other night on post game. 25 more games, and a couple game cushion between where you need to be and where you are. And so I think the Jazz just need to do everything they can to protect their interests. And if part of that is getting a guy mended up that needs it, and you're going to do it 25 games early, let's go do it.
All right. Let's look ahead to next year, though. So assuming Walker Kessler comes back, restricted free agent, let's say whatever he gets, the Jazz match, or they're able to work something out before then. Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson, Larry Markkinen, Ace Bailey, Keontae George, starting 5. And then, you throw in, top 5 draft pick into the mix and what else could be coming back. That to me is a playoff team next year.
And you know why it is because all of these guys have gone through this arduous process to get here.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about Keontae George was asked to play a position he never played in his life. And I'll be darned if it didn't now really help his cause because, he's scoring the ball. He's more efficient. But what's really stood out to me is how he's distributing the ball as another ball handler, another guy that can get it going. And so he did his work. Lauri Markkinen obviously has just figured out a way to step it up. And last year was a little bit of an odd season. I think just chemistry. We talked about chemistry with hockey. You had a team full of older veterans that were looking for an out and younger guys that were looking to figure out how to do this. And the mesh wasn't awesome. The difference this year is the mesh from the start because of Niang, Love. The guys they brought in the offseason, I think, have really benefited them. And so where they sit now, yeah, you say that's the starting lineup, but the reason Kyle Filipowski is in a position to be a guy who can be actually a really good backup four in this league is because he's put in the time and he's gone through these processes, and Will's put him in those spots. They've finished games, they've started games, they've had to be in crucial situations. So all of this time where everybody's like, oh man, this rebuild stinks. Well, it hasn't been fun, but there have been these little things happening.
Yeah.
If you understand how rosters are constructed, you're like, ooh, this is starting to look pretty good.
Well, and also too, and you hate to look at guys just like assets, but Filipowski or Isaiah Collier, I mean, you go down the list, like they are developing potential assets that could either be really beneficial for depth next year or pieces to help continue to build this team going forward.
And that's exactly right. So these last 25 games for guys who will be playing, a guy like Bryce Sensabaugh, Isaiah Collier, who had a phenomenal game. You mentioned he had 24 points, 9 assists, a guy that just keeps getting better and, challenging the narrative that a guy that can't shoot, can't play in this league, and he's showing nightly that he's pretty good at it. So he's hoping his shot can come around. You mentioned Flip. So it's just now, what do you have? What do these role guys bring? How do they fit? And are we going to move with them, or are we going to use what they can do to go actually get something that fits us a little better?
And that's a good problem to have.
For sure.
Mean, yeah.
You want to be tweaking.
Yeah, exactly. The roster.
Tweaking the roster.
Yeah, yeah.
Not like Lloyd tweaks in there.
Me? Are you sure about that?
Oh, wait, that's somebody behind you. Sorry. I was seeing double.
Hey, all right, coming up next, another edition of Whole World News. Span the globe to try to find something that'll at least amuse Coach. And also coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, the Olympics are in the rearview mirror. How much did you enjoy it? How much did you watch? What was your level of consumption outside of the hockey team? We'll talk about that coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. That is Tim Lacombe. I'm Scott Gerard. Thanks for listening. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're listening to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, Whole World News. As we span the globe to try to find, like, we talk sports all day, but every now and then we like to talk about what else is going on out there. You ready for this one?
Tell me a good one.
Okay. I think this will work for you. Let's go to East Hollywood, California.
You sure?
Yes, I believe so.
We're going by foot or car? Oh, wait, you're just going to, okay.
I'm going to take you there.
Perfect.
In your mind. It's like James Taylor in Carolina. Going there in your mind. All right. A traffic cam video has been released showing a naked man running through the scene of a serious crash. Los Angeles police say the streaking man seen in the video was driving one of the two vehicles involved in the crash. It happened at the Normandale Avenue where it meets with Santa Monica Boulevard. I don't think that, what's her name? Santa Monica Boulevard.
Sheryl Crow.
Sheryl Crow was thinking about this when she sang the song. Multiple people are injured. Bad accident. But the guy who initiated the contact in this intersection immediately fled the scene, and he was completely naked. So he was driving a car completely naked, caused a crash at this intersection, and thought, what should I do next? Well, I'm going to get out of this car, and I'm going to sprint and get as far away from here as possible because the dude was buck naked. He was the one, according to the officer, he's the one that caused the accident. He was going through a red light, and as soon as the accident happened, he ran out of the vehicle and fled the scene. Police said one person was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The naked man has been arrested. Officers believe he shockingly was under the influence when this happened. He is expected to be charged with felony hit and run and DUI and indecent exposure.
That's the trifecta.
And not the that was indecent proposal. Sorry.
We call that the East Hollywood trifecta.
Yeah.
Right there.
Sounds like he handles pressure situations well.
Well, it actually brings a story to mind from my youth.
Okay, do tell.
1977, Dateline.
All right.
American
The
Fork,
year of Tim.
Utah.
In American Fork. All right.
Like 6 or 7 years old. And there's one main road from American Fork up to Highland.
Okay, this is
back before these people aspired to live in these
It's probably a
places.
little farmland back in the day.
A lot of farmland. In fact, when you went to American Fork Junior High and people asked where you were from, you just said American Fork because you'd say Highland and like, where's that?
Yeah.
It was just right up here.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
this is where now all the BYU former athletes go and in their multi-level marketing schemes and stuff.
yes, the McMansions.
Yes.
So anyhow, road runs down from Main Street. It's called First East to American Fork. It goes up the hill all the way into Highland and then Alpine. On that road, there are various houses, and I had a friend who lived right on the road, and we had one of those little inflatable pools, and so we were out in his front yard. I was 6 or 7, and we thought, "Hey, let's strip our trunks off and moon people as they come by on the highway." No, we really did. So, I went first and saw a semi coming and went ahead and gave him the biz. And just like that, dude, ran for my life. Just like him. He ran through the crime scene butt naked. I did too.
Yeah.
And his mother happened to see me, who called my mother.
Uh-oh.
And when I got home, I got the East Hollywood trifecta.
Yeah.
From Mom.
So you got the family felony charges.
Yes, I did. Grounded without cause or with cause.
With cause.
For a week. And the Hardings, Joan Harding, she put me in that position.
All right. So had you just stayed there, jumped back in the pool, put the trunks back on, you probably would have been
safe, but it was running past that sliding window gets you every time.
Yeah. Yeah. When Mom's out there cooking dinner and she sees the neighbor kid running naked across the yard, she's like, I should probably call his mother.
I'm sure I had red cheeks up top, and then everything else that gave me away. It was too white.
Wasn't a lot of tanning going on back then.
Not for the young kid, no. You just spent all day out. You see, you had plenty of tan.
Oh yeah, you had the old farmer's tan going on.
Right.
Yeah. But those trunks came off. It was all white. All right. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Believe it or not, this guy actually has friends.
Nice.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Team USA bringing home the gold. Yes, sir. Great game, knocking off Canada. The Olympics are now in the rearview mirror. How much of the Olympics did you actually watch outside of the hockey?
I watched every night. My wife and I were into it. Yeah, I like going home. I didn't watch all of it, but I'd watch events here and there that were interesting to me. I like ice skating stuff. The aerials freak me out, but I love them.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone up to Park City in the summertime and see them do the aerials into the pools?
Yeah, I've not.
You need to do that. Take your sons. They dig that. So I like that. And then, but to me, the capper was what we were waiting for yesterday, all 2 weeks. And
I know.
They did it. I mean, can't believe they did it.
That is going to be a signature moment that we're going to talk about for a long, long time. And I think that there's moments in sports you always remember. Like, you always remember, if you were alive and old enough to remember the 1980 Miracle on Ice, you remember that. You remember, just signature moments in sports, and that will always be one of them. Like, there's certain games that you'll remember. I'll always remember, John Elway winning that first Super Bowl after getting dump trucked all those times, and to actually win one, like, holy smokes.
The Sam Merrill calls down in Vegas have to be the ones, as far as your Aggie time, that stand out the most.
Yeah, that's probably number one. Being on the sideline and just seeing it, seeing it all develop.
What the hell just happened?
That was the Colorado State game. Yeah. That was a football
similar,
game.
What was you said something with Sam, though. You did say
Sam Merrill is a freaking stud.
That was it.
And then SportsCenter went and turned a graphic out of it.
Of course they did.
So, yeah, that was my 10 minutes right there with that one. That was fun.
You got viral 6'7" too.
Yeah, the 6'7" thing kind of took off on me a little bit. But you go back and you look at signature moments in sports, and you were front row for Jimmermania, and I can't imagine what that was like, being a part of, like, essentially. I mean, you were traveling with the Beatles essentially during that year.
It's funny because I coached this weekend. We had a Bantam All-Star event at Delta Center. Utah Jazz have and launched a new league this year for Bantam basketball, and so they had this big event, and I coached a couple of 5th and 6th grade teams, and I told them, during it, they were all just fascinated when they got there and during warm-ups. But one of the girl said in one of the games, she said, I totally forgotten we're playing at Delta Center. And that's kind of how it feels when, like, that whole Jimmer experience, we were just doing our thing. And, and then all of a sudden there became a fishbowl around what we were doing. But it was definitely, as far as runs go, the early Majerus years when he got here and being a part of some of those conference tournament or conference championships, and then we beat New Mexico in the pit in the semifinals of the WAC tournament, worse than they've ever been beat in the pit. I think it still sits today. So you just have these moments that you'll always remember, and you don't always remember every little play, but you remember how it made you feel. And I think that's what will be tomorrow. Everybody will remember waking up early and getting around the TV and watching the U.S. win their 3rd gold medal, just their 3rd.
I know.
All time.
Like, I think I want to say, like, in the 60s?
60, 80, and
2026. Wow. There's going to be a lot of people, too, that slept through it that will always claim that they watched it.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, I watched every second. I got the
What
alarm.
do you mean 3-on-3?
Wait, it went overtime?
You did what?
I have no recollection of that. Yeah, I mean, but that'll be great because you can own it. That's fine. Just make up that you watched it.
Are you more into the summer Olympics than winter?
Yeah, I'm way more into summer. The track and field stuff I can watch. I don't know. I did not watch it. This was probably the least amount of Olympics I've ever watched. Summer, winter, ever. Like, I don't know what it was, but this one I had a hard time really latching onto. Now, I can't wait for them to be here in 8 years from now and to see it turn Salt Lake City upside down. And after what we learned in 2002 and then where this community has come and how it's progressed business-wise, and at that point, this renovation downtown should be wrapped up. You already see the difference it's made in the Delta Center in just 1 year. Imagine what this whole area where we're at, we're just right across the street. I can't imagine what this is going to look like 8 years from now. And
it seems like momentum's just getting stronger for all that. It's honestly, and I was around the last time. I got to go to a couple events when the Olympics were here. What's neat about it, it just seems like it's uniquely built for this next challenge. Opening up downtown, the venues have all done such a great job at surviving and being used. And so, yeah, it's just going to be being able to take what's already been done, and again, that word, but then just making a couple tweaks here and there to make it better. But I love the minds that are involved in it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Got the right minds on it.
You've known Ryan for a long time.
I knew Ryan, I've known him for 10, 15 years.
Before Ryan became Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, the cool part is he's the same guy. He's the same guy. Just got a lot more on his plate. But what sets him apart, and it's really what I experienced over at Delta Center this weekend, and what he talks about all the time, is just the community. And those aren't hollow words. I've been working now with the Jazz since November, and the number of little projects that we've gone out and done in my time there, take 2 hours and go do this to help an organization that's trying to do something great locally. Like, that's the coolest part, is that's all very authentic, and they don't just talk about it, they're about it. Yeah.
And there's not a lot that they will say, hey, look what we did.
No.
And, the Millers do the same thing. I mean, those that have really put together the sports landscape here in Utah with the Miller family and with Ryan Smith and Ryan and Ashley Smith, I should say, has been really impressive to see. And the development of what they've done has been really, really, really cool. And so as you look at where this community is going in sports, where it's been, where it's going. Winter sports has been huge, but I can't imagine what this hockey situation is going to look like now that the standard has been set on a gold medal. Now it seems like it's going to steamroll. And next 4 years, guess what? The standard has been set. 4 years after that, the standard has been set. And once we as a sports society experience something, it's like, all right, we get greedy. Like, keep it coming. Keep it coming. One gold's good. You know what's better? Back-to-back golds. What's better than that? Back-to-back-to-back golds. Let's dominate this thing.
And the timing's a little bit ironic to this, but the ice center, where the Mammoth practice and the piece that's open to the public, that all opened this weekend. And they were just jam-packed with clinics and people that wanted to try it and do it. So you're right. The timing seems like it's almost perfect. The Mammoth now, get back. Cooley gets a gold medal, which is just so awesome. Yeah. And then they come back and they make now a run to try to get into the playoffs. It's crazy how it all kind of dovetails, but it does. And you need to use the momentum of the sport, nationally right now to really do some things here locally to make a difference.
All right. Jay Stevens joined us earlier in the show, and he mentioned that how good this team performed, and it just felt like in good chunks of that game that Team USA was just taking haymaker after haymaker. And just, afterwards, I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was McDavid, but one of the Canadian players said, hey, go watch that game, and you tell me if the better team won. Oh, it was McKinnon who said that. And frankly,
McKinnon, who missed an wide open shot.
Yes.
And hit it off the back of the. You couldn't be more open to miss that. Yeah.
But to a certain extent, I get it. Like, if you knew nothing about the teams, and Lloyd, you put somebody right in there and say, who was the better team going into overtime? Who had the momentum? Who was playing the best? I mean, the shots on goal were almost double. It was like 34-18.
If you just watched the second and third period, you would have thought that Canada, and didn't know anything about the score, wasn't looking at the score, you'd be like, oh, wow, Canada's probably dominated.
They just lived in the zone. Yeah. They couldn't get it out. They were shooting,
yes.
But the
USA it seemed like they were on their heels.
But obviously the goalie play was off the chain, and it was so.
It was a big part of the game, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows that, but a goalie is pretty instrumental to your team.
Absolutely,
seems like that's a vital part.
Yeah, there's no goalie there, then hey,
41 saves, right? And I remember in Placid, right, Lake Placid, it was Jim Craig, and he was not supposed to be the goalie. He was a backup, and he just got on a little bit of a heater. But you've got to have that. You've got to have that protection. And you guys mentioned that crazy save he had. That will be, I'm sure that'll be a poster forever. The way he's spread out and he's got the stick back there. And I didn't even think about the piece of it, how physical you've got to be with all your weight one way and the stick back. So they're incredible athletes. They're massive dudes. That's the part that stands out to me. These hockey guys are big, strong guys. But what a great story, and third time ever. And I would think that this will build and it'll become a little more common.
I think so too. But I do think, to Jay Stevens' point, that you're going to see a situation where there's a lot of people that will watch that as, 6, 7, 8-year-old and be like, I want to do that. You talk about Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill had his dad drag him up to Logan, and he watched J.C. Carroll play. He's like, I want to do what he did. And I want to do it on that level, and I want to do it in that arena. And you tried to recruit him to come to BYU, and he was having none of it because he had those experiences as a kid where he's like, that's where I want to go, and that's where I want to play, and I want to do great things there. If you're able to really sink your teeth into a young generation and have them grow up as fans of a sport and fans of a team, you got to get them at a young age. And there's going to be a lot of youth out there. They're here even locally. Like, if I would watch hockey growing up, I'd be like, oh, that was cool. That was fun. But I have no access to play hockey. I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to even try to put skates on. I don't even know the first place to go. I had no availability up in the middle of nowhere, Idaho. If you're a kid in Utah now watching it with what the Mammoth have built in that facility and the explosion of the sport here, now you have opportunities to play that. Now, we always say the same thing about soccer. Like, there's a great World Cup. You're like, oh, that's going to get a new generation. No, because guess what? kids realize that they can't make money playing professional soccer. I mean, you can if you're over in Europe, but that's not going to happen. But you look at now hockey, you look at basketball, you're like, okay, I can make money doing that. I mean, we talk about our guy Hans says all the time. Had he been able to make money as a Greco-Roman wrestler, that's what he loved. But you can't make any money doing that. You can't really make a ton of money as a soccer player. But people are seeing hockey and they're like, okay, I can do that.
Is he more Greco or Roman?
There's a lot of Roman there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Is that what? I don't.
Does he? Does a Greco-Roman wear a singlet?
No, they just do the. I always think of like the dudes in that 300, like just bare chested and just like a little loincloth, and that's about it. That's usually what he would wear around the office a lot. So
I wish he would have gone singlet.
Cameras happen.
I wish he'd gone singlet in the camera era. Just sitting here with a tank top.
See, I had a high school coach who was our football coach, but he's also a wrestling coach. And he would always say, like, I want you to come out for wrestling. I want you to come out for wrestling. And I'm like, Coach, I'm not wearing that singlet. Like, I'm sorry. But there are some bodies that were made for that. Mine's not one of them.
You say I need a doublet.
Yeah, doublet.
Not the singlet, the doublet.
Maybe we might have to in and out then triple.
The triplet.
A triplet, yeah.
No, but you said this. I remember when the U.S. won in '80 and Mike Ruzioni was the captain, and we would go out and we didn't have hockey, but we tried to figure out a way to, makeshift something. And now, like to your point, with recreation now, all the recreation hubs here in Utah are going to have, whether it's hockey or street hockey, opportunities to go out and compete. So I'm excited to see over the next 10 years, I guess between now, 8 years, next time the Olympics come here, just where we are that much further hockey-wise. Yeah.
I mean, if your grandson came up to you and said, I want to play hockey, you can find ways to, and was he 4 or 5 years old?
5. He's 5, yes.
5. So, I mean,
yes and no. By the way, because I've looked in those things, those beginners clinics are jam-packed.
Are they really?
They are.
Oh,
you
they
can't get
are.
in.
They are really hard to get the kids in them. Like,
is it because
there's a lot of them, but like everybody is just they're loading up. Like it's packed.
So we are going to see a generation coming out of Utah here pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. Wow.
Trust me, I've looked, and because the kids want to check it out and get a feel for it as well, which I want to point them in a different direction because hockey is really expensive.
Yeah.
All the equipment and everything, but yeah, it's packed.
That's why I think that football still does very well is surprisingly there's not like AAU football. There's not, I mean, you got the 7-on-7 stuff that can rack up the cost, but like I've got a buddy whose son's getting really good at baseball, and the amount of cost that
crazy.
There's this travel tournament or this travel team, and you got to pay for this and this and this. And it's a year-round thing, and it's like, my goodness, they'll get you.
The commercialization,
don't even get me started.
The commercialization of youth sports is a huge issue, and honestly, it's one of the things that I love that the Jazz and the Mammoth are trying to do is they're trying to take it to the masses, and they're trying to do it in a way that's feasible. I think you'll see more clinics open up for X-Man and Jackie Blue. And I think Jackie Blue's got it in him to make the game winner. So let's at least
spend some time in the penalty box.
Let's not be discouraged by not getting in a clinic. Let's show some backbone and get him in a clinic. I'm going to help you.
Okay.
We'll get Jackie Blue.
You got some connections. You know people.
No, honestly, like I can't remember where I saw your Jessica. I ran into her, and I think it was at she was bringing a car into Tim Daly, and to get it serviced, and so she's got the 2 boys, and I'm just talking to Jessica, and I look around, and those 2 kids are just beating the crap out of each other, and like in the middle of a car dealership, I'm like, holy smokes!
I showed you the video of them playing roller hockey in the garage, right?
Yeah,
where Jackie took him down, straight dropped the gloves and was fighting. I'm like, geez, man, take it easy, bro.
5-minute major.
Or are you encouraging it?
Not going to lie, there's a little bit of me that might be.
he sits back like, yeah, that's my boys right there.
That's my boy.
And then he's
Hey,
also
let
like,
go of his jersey. No, I mean, hit him in the face.
he's like, I'm Jackie. I'm giving you 3-1 odds.
I went to college with Lloyd. He was one mean dude, so
Oh,
I
I
knew
bet.
not to mess
I
with
bet.
him. And
Yeah.
the boys will be the same.
They will. Jackie's got that edge. He does. He got a little anger in him.
Hey, if
Little
he
ball of
didn't
hate.
have an edge, it would just be Jackie. It's Jackie Blue. He's got a mob name for a
Yeah.
reason.
Yep. All right. You know what? You talk about the youth sports, though. You wonder how, what this next generation is going to look like. I think it's a fascinating idea. I had no idea that it was blowing up here in Utah the way it is. I thought it would eventually. I didn't know that the demand was there right now.
Yeah, for sure right now. And I'm with Lloyd. I think it will. You see it. You've seen it. You just talked about Sam Merrill. We've had guys grow up here, go to the NBA, NHL, or NFL. It'd be awesome to have a Utah homegrown Mammoth player. That'd be awesome.
Oof. Yeah, no doubt.
Down the road.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Greatest guitar player of all time?
Yeah, probably. He was so innovative. Do you know
Jimi
he played
Hendrix.
it upside down?
Yeah.
He was a lefty, played a right guitar. So the way that we all play, the strings were reversed. But he was brilliant. I would say he or Eddie Van Halen. I think
Yeah.
they both just changed the way it all went. And so, but this solo, very, very historic.
Woodstock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Controversial.
Taken way too early from us.
Way too early, but the theme is we won the gold.
We won the gold. God bless America. USA, USA, USA. So the Jazz got the memo from the NBA. Hey, you can't mess with playing time in the fourth quarter. If you're going to shut people down, you have to let everybody know that you're shutting them down. So the Jazz are doing just that, and they're playing nice with all the rules that Adam Silver, the unwritten rules of tanking, and Jusuf Nurkic. It's not official from the Jazz yet, but Chris Haynes reporting that Jusuf Nurkic will undergo surgery repairing a nose injury that he suffered a few years ago that's causing sleep and breathing issues, and he will most likely be out the rest of the season.
So the impact is obviously the paint. He's been great this year. He's definitely been a huge surprise. There's been lots of good stories with the Jazz this year.
Mr. Triple-Double here, though.
Absolutely. He broke that little he had 3 in a row, almost had 4. And he's just been so good because the offense is really predicated on space, all 5 out. And when you have a 5-man that passes, handles it as well as he does, in the little short spurts he has to, he's really helped this team. Great screener. You have to account for his rolling, but it's his defense that the Jazz and rebounding the Jazz will miss the most.
And just a big body, a big presence that the Jazz just, without Walker Kessler, really needed. And so, I mean, you look at what it looks like without him, and there's not a lot of size there for the Jazz.
No, there isn't. So it'll be difficult to win games.
Oh, well, that's an
more
interesting
difficult.
byproduct of all of this.
Right. But at the same time, I think it's wise because, again, these 25 games are what they are. And the Jazz have been, very outward about this being development time. And so younger guys will get the opportunity. And he's got something that's been lingering that if you understand an NBA schedule, it's hard to deal with that stuff. So to be able to go and do it without the pressure of having to get back and then, what the future holds for him as far as coming back or going somewhere else, that's all to be determined.
If you were to grade, and I'm putting you on the spot here, we didn't talk about this during the break, but a rookie grade for Ace Bailey.
You know what? I would probably give him right now probably a B+, and here's why. I think he's got a lot more to his game that can get him to the A territory. But I think, honestly, this year for him is just figuring out how to fit in.
Yeah.
And there's so many stories last year saying, they went after his basketball IQ, his ability to understand how to play. They went after, his willingness to share it or pass the ball. I haven't seen anything this year but a guy who has fit in really well. And, maybe he took the path of, I'm not going to go in there and rock the boat. I just don't know that that the whole chucking thing that was advertised about him is just not real. And I think he's done a great job of finding his spots. It takes time to fit into a new organization, come in and figure out how to best use your skill. But what really unlocked him was the offense and his ability to be a guy who people forget about, because you have Keontae having the year he had, Lowry having the year he had. Nurk had the best year he's had since 23-24. He didn't average double figures 3 straight years, and came to Utah, and his average went right up to 11 points a game. He's averaging 10 rebounds a game, which he has not done since 22-23. So Ace was able to, with all this stuff going on, figure out how to navigate 45 cuts, cutting from the weak side. And then from there, it's transitions opened up to him. He's making shots from there. I think he's going to be phenomenal. I said when they drafted him, he'll be an all-star, and I stand by that.
How complex is what Will Hardy asked these guys to do on the offensive side?
Well, it's definitely more complex. It's instead of like rote memorization, it's instinctive and intuitive, and you're really trying to read what the defense is doing. So much a big part of it is like, who's guarding me, who's guarding Keontae, who's guarding Nurk, and making sure like there are matchups all over the place that we can exploit. So to be able to space the floor the way they do and really have way more of a motion-based offense with so much cutting up the weak side, so much screening on the weak side, it's just different from what you see night in and night out in the NBA. So I think it's been innovative. I'll bet you there's a bunch of copycats because that's how the NBA works. But I do know it's freed up this roster, and that's what a coach's job is. You want to figure out a way to put your guys in the best position to succeed.
When you look at his future, you look at Keontae's future, we know that Ace has a bunch of steps that he can take. How many, is Keontae's not near a ceiling. I can't imagine what the limit looks like for him.
Well, he's not near his ceiling because he's got so many reps to learn from still, so young. But if you just look across, and I'll compare to last year to this year with Keontae because it's pretty mind-boggling. So year one, he scores 13 a game, and he does it on 39% shooting, okay? Second year, 16.8, again, 39% shooting. This year, he's gone to 23.8. He's shooting 46% from the field, and his best percentage from three, 38%. What he's really added this year, too, he's doubled his number of attempts at the line. So he's more aggressive off the bounce. He's gone from 4 free throws a game to 7. And so you put together his efficiency, his ball handling, distribution, and then that this year has gone. So he's 4-4, 5-6, and he's 6-5 assists now. So I think you just see some incremental growth, but right now it's about figuring out how to lock this level in. And the advantage he has is he's not the only guy that teams have to worry about. I've always said it, Lauri Markkanen is almost the best number one player you have because he doesn't have to be number one. He can be 1A, he can be 2. He can sting people as a third guy. So I think the way they've made the roster has definitely helped, but Keontae's evolution has definitely raised the ceiling.
All right. You mentioned Isaiah Collier. We talked about him earlier. He had 24 points the other night. This is why I love talking to coaches and players that know the game way better than I'll ever know. I always hear this. There's like a point of no return on a guy's shot where, you can make it a little bit better, but pretty soon Ronnie Brewer is going to be Ronnie Brewer. Like the shot's not getting any better. So how much improvement can he make as a pure shooter in this league? Or is what you're seeing pretty much what you're going to get?
Well, I think the biggest thing is what you want to look for always is an elite skill.
Yeah.
And he's got 2 in my mind. He's got the burst and the power, which is rare.
Yes.
When you look at him, he's 6'5", 210 pounds, so he's a load. And then he's definitely a guy who, as opposed to kind of feeling the situation out, he's a guy who's getting on a direct line, and he's going to get an advantage. So his ability to use his physical skills to get an advantage, and then his vision, I would call elite. His shooting this year has improved. He went last year from 3, and really I think it's a 3-point shot we got to talk about.
Yes, yeah.
Because he's great at getting into the paint and stop and turning, finding ways to get shots. But this year he's taking 1.6 threes per game, and he's making 30% of them. I've always felt like you get a guy to 34 on a scouting report, that's kind of the respect factor. That's the one where we're not just going to let him shoot him, but he's going to have a period of time here where they're going to let him shoot him. And he made a improvement in the offseason. I would expect him to make another one. And if he could make another one like he did last year, he's 6% percentage points better. He'd, say he gets 3 or 4 better, he's right there at 33, 34.
So you think he can get to like 34?
I think he can. Yeah, and I think he's more selective about the ones he takes.
Yeah.
Like his number's down a little bit, but he's still taking almost 2 a game. So he just got to figure out a way to get the ones to go for him. And I know he's relentless in the gym. Last summer he spent so much time, and that's a 6% increase. So it was time well spent. I do believe in the power of daily work, and I think this is something this kid can do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love talking about this team in regards to winning basketball games. And I know, look, we got 20-some-odd games left, and they need to bottom it out. I would love if they never won another game the rest of this year. But the fact is, we know that this is coming to an end. As soon as that last game goes zeros in April, then it's go time for this Jazz team because they went in on Jaren Jackson, and that signifies we're done. I mean, we're done with the losing. Now, that will begin next year, but the fact is, if you're a Jazz fan, you can take a lot of solace knowing that you've gotten through it, and now it's about winning games, and that begins next October.
And really, you look at these 25 games left, look at that as an opportunity for a lot of guys to get a lot of minutes that haven't gotten a lot of minutes, particularly impactful minutes. And I mentioned a guy like Oscar Tshiebwe. Talk about an elite skill. His elite skill is rebounding the basketball. So, you put him into minutes and see what he looks like. Bryce Sensabaugh continues to work on the things he's got to work on, defense being number one. Flip's now going to have the challenge again to have to guard centers every night.
Yeah.
That's made him tougher. His rebounding numbers have gone up because he's had to do that. You don't love it for him, but it is what it is. And so you use all these minutes as almost a preseason. Because to your point, you're getting most of these guys back. With Nurk out now especially, you don't know what his future is, but most of these guys that are going to get these minutes will be back. And so it's an opportunity to look at them very, very closely for, 25 games to be able to have even more clear idea of what you want to do next year.
Yeah. All right, we'll wrap up this bad boy next. That's Tim Lacombe. I'm Scott Gerard. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, wrapping up another edition of the show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Big thanks to Tim Lacombe hanging out with us today. A lot of hockey talk. We don't do a lot of it, but when we do, and look, when Team USA brings home a gold, we're going to talk some
about
hockey. Hell yes. Crazy Canadians. Take that silver medal. See what that and a Tim Horton cup of coffee gets you these days. Nothing.
I had boysenberry syrup yesterday in protest.
Oh yeah, no maple in the Lacombe house.
Boysenberry.
Wasn't it after the women, the USA women beat Team Canada? Team Canada's their Twitter account put out silver shines just as bright.
Oh no, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
That's a very Canadian
Google
thing.
it. Yes.
Oh, silver shine. No, it doesn't.
Dudley Do-Right standing right next to the silver.
That's a
can't win, don't try.
That is a very loser mentality right there.
So
how often you been to Canada?
A few times.
You went to Toronto.
I was just there. I spent 16 hours in Toronto a couple of weeks ago.
What's it like to be the fill-in there? You get that call.
It's
the different phone rings.
So I get a text from our guy Jeremy Bruner, and Utah State's playing San Diego State. Huge game, but fortunately for me, it was an 11 a.m. start, and we're about midway through the first half. And there's some people that when they text you, you're like, okay, we can deal with that later. It's Lloyd. We'll get back to that.
No, you do that to me.
No, not intentionally. But
come again? Say that again.
Yeah, it's not important. Anyway,
what's more important. Yeah,
but you get a text from Jeremy Bruner. You're like, okay, I gotta see what's up there. And so in the middle of the call, I look over at the phone and it says, hey, couple questions. Number one, do you have a passport? And I said, yes. And he said, number two, if I get you on a red eye tonight, can you call a game in Toronto tomorrow for the Jazz? And my response was, hell yes, let's go. And sure enough, we were got done with that Utah State game, went home, grabbed a suit, headed off to Toronto, and called that Jazz Toronto game.
The best part of the story for me was it was 1 o'clock day of game.
Yeah.
And it was a back-to-back. They'd played the night before. So, you get used to who's doing what. And I get a text from Scotty on my way to Salt Lake saying, hey, man, I'm doing the game today. And I'm thinking, what? Where's David? What happened? But what happened was Bowler got a little laryngitis.
Yep.
And the one thing, Bowler's got a lot of good traits, but let's be honest, it's that voice.
Oh, yeah.
You and he both, just golden tones.
I don't have the dimples and the head of hair the Bowler has. But
hey, you can't have it all.
We have a pretty good voice.
Or else you'd be Bowler Jack.
Yes.
But anyway, he had laryngitis. I get up to the studio, and sure enough, my boy Scotty's on the call and did a phenomenal job. So you have been to Canada.
I have been to Canada. So, by the way, Lloyd, I can't believe they still have this up. I would have taken this down.
Absolutely. I was like, what?
Silver shines just as bright. No, it does not. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I got into it with Christian a little bit because he's like, we talked about the question, did you win 2 silvers or did you lose 2 golds? And I was like, well, you lost 2 golds. I feel like that's what happened.
All that glitters is not gold.
Winning a silver is nice. It's very nice.
Oh,
nice
yeah.
accomplishment. Absolutely. But it's not winning.
Yeah, wasn't Christian sticking up for the
Yes. He was sticking up for the winning of the silvers.
Yeah, the Chinese, she's American, but was competing for the Chinese team.
Yes,
yeah.
he was.
I'm the most decorated freestyle, whatever she does. I don't know.
She was amazing, though.
She was.
I did
absolutely.
watch
She did get a gold.
Yeah,
She did get
absolutely.
She did get a gold. Should have had 3
As an
golds,
American
probably.
or for China?
For China.
Okay.
0.0000009 are the odds that you'll win a gold medal.
Look, if you win a silver, that's great. That's
It is
awesome.
nice.
But-
Absolutely. But it does not
but
shine
it's not
as
a
bright.
gold.
It
No.
does not shine as bright as gold.
No, there's a
Unless you
standard
shine
there.
light on it and put the gold in a dark room. But that's the only way I would.
Cute, though.
Yeah, it's cute. It's nice, but when you're at a party, do you actually bring out the silver medal or do you bring out the gold medal? You want to bring out the gold.
Yeah.
You put the silver medals holding the hot dish.
Yes,
I think
that's
they learned their lesson because I don't think they didn't tweet that after the men won.
Oh,
silver.
no.
They did not tweet that then.
No. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.